Rebuild underway. An iconic piece of downtown Rockford is rising from the ashes. We'll show you what will be different at the corner bar.
Well, some sunshine out there now, but we have some clouds moving in this evening. We'll see some rain tonight, and a bigger storm comes our way over the weekend.
All new at 6 o'clock, Grand Rapids businesses weigh in on development plans in several neighborhoods. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Susan Shaw.
And I'm Brian Sterling. News 8 at 6 starts now.
This is a breaking news alert from 24-Hour News 8.
Off the top at 6 o'clock, breaking news. We are learning that the Air Force will soon start sampling around the Battle Creek Air National Guard Base, looking for possible PFAS contamination in area wells.
24-Hour News 8's Marley Ginter is at the live desk with what we know about this. Marley?
Well, Sue and Brian, the Air Force tells us that the sampling will begin Monday. There's a chance that the area could be contaminated with PFAS after firefighting activities years ago. Well, the Battle Creek Air National Guard Base is about 4 miles west of downtown Battle Creek. There are several neighborhoods in the area. The Air Force says some of those homes do have wells. Now, we've been telling you about PFAS and firefighting foam for weeks now. It's been a concern around the Ford Airport near Grand Rapids. The Air Force Base started using the foam back in 1970. The Air Force says they did a study in 2015 looking at areas that might be impacting, but now the groundwater as well as soil will be sampled. PFAS is a likely carcinogen. It's the same contaminant found near former Wolverine Worldwide dumps in the Rockford area. And as we said, there are concerns it could be in the water near the Ford Airport. Now, the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality will be working with both state and local health agencies already testing the water wells around the base. And of course, we'll keep you updated as those results come in. At the live desk, Marley Ginter, 24-Hour News 8.
More than 2 months after the murder of East Kentwood student Mujay Dumbuya, the Kent County Prosecutor's Office is now filing murder charges.
We have charged Quinn Anthony James with 1 count of first-degree premeditated murder.
Quinn James, the man she was set to testify against in her rape, is charged with her murder. Gerald Bennett is charged with helping. 24-Hour News 8's Heather Walker is showing us how investigators linked the men to the murder. Heather?
Well, police have everything from surveillance video to phone records and even a money transfer that James made to allegedly pay for help with this murder.
There is no one key piece of evidence. I think this is a conglomeration of all the difficult work that these departments did.
In count 1, that you did deliberately with the intent to kill and with premeditation kill and murder one Mujay Dumbuya.
Both Quinn James and his alleged aide in the murder, Gerald Bennett, were arraigned on the charges today.
With James Quinn and or other persons unknown to commit the following listed offense, specifically homicide, murder in the first degree.
Bennett is from the Detroit area, and investigators say there was no known contact prior to the crime. According to investigators, phone records reveal communications where James was looking for an accomplice for the murder and the disposal of Mujay Dumbuya's body. According to court documents, a friend of James connected him to Bennett, and there was video of James wiring money to Bennett's girlfriend the day before the abduction and murder. The court documents reveal records placed James in close proximity to Dumbuya's home and bus stop the night before she went missing, and a forensic test tied James to Dumbuya's clothing. Plus, images from a trail camera show a black Acadia in close proximity to where her body was found down in Kalamazoo the day she went missing, which is also the day James received a black Acadia loaner vehicle from a dealership. The car later showed up at Bennett's girlfriend's home in Detroit, the same woman who was wired the money. Both Bennett and James are being held without bonds. James still says he's innocent. Sue?
Heather, thank you. The Michigan Supreme Court heard arguments today that will determine whether guns are allowed on school campuses around our state.
School districts argued that they want to keep guns away from their students, while gun supporters said that they have the right to carry weapons at schools.
24-Hour News 8's Barton Dieters was at court today listening to the arguments and talking to those on both sides of the debate.
While there were lots of arguments about the technicalities of law here, the real question came down to a practical one. What are schools supposed to do when someone with a gun approaches a building? We heard from both sides on that. While many of the arguments were over the finer points of the law and whether both sides were in compliance with the wishes of the elected legislature, a more basic question was on everyone's mind.
If I'm a principal of a school or a teacher at a school, and this court basically rules in your favor, I just want to understand what is it that that the schools are going to now do.
For many schools, the mere presence of a gun, whether spotted by a student, staff member, or a parent, leads to a school lockdown.
We are charged with keeping that environment safe, and we know very clearly the federal guidelines say that the presence of the gun in school is an emergency.
Gun advocates say this is unnecessary and that people with guns around schools actually make things safer.
This is an overreaction by school districts.
What school administrator sitting in his office watches someone come up the walkway with a gun? What is he supposed to do? You just wait to see how it all works out.
The attorney for the schools said just like the state Supreme Court can use its authority to ban guns in the courthouse, schools have the right to keep their buildings free from guns. Gun advocates propose that the school's procedures for anyone coming on school property should apply to those carrying a gun into a school.
Meet with the receptionist. The receptionist can ask, as they do in these other school districts, whether or not they're licensed to carry a concealed pistol.
How could we ever suppose to know the intent of anyone approaching the doorway of our schools?
This isn't new. It's not untested. It's been happening for years and years and years and years, and I don't know a single open carrier that has ever caused a problem on the school.
But if they don't know who somebody is,
address me, talk to me, come up to me, ask me who I am, what my business is there.
It's likely to be this summer before any decision is made, if any decision is made at all. The court just could let the previous ruling stand. We'll have more on that here and online at woodtv.com. In Lansing, Barton Dieters, 24-Hour News 8.
A new federal lawsuit claims Holland Christian Schools failed to protect a female student from her rapist. In court documents filed yesterday, the suit alleges the district did not take any disciplinary actions against the male student despite him being charged and sentenced for sexual assault last year. An expert says, quote, Holland Christian chose to accommodate the rapist rather than the victim.
Plans are in the works for improvements at 5 business districts on the south side of Grand Rapids, and the city is reaching out to business owners to help guide those discussions. New at 6. 24-Hour News 8's Joe LaFurgey live tonight with information on how you can get involved. Joe?
Hi, Brian. Yeah, we're in one of those districts now, the Madison Square District, right at Hall and Madison, and just across the street at the Link Community Headquarters. That is where a meeting is taking place right now to talk about the future of this and the 4 other districts. Small business districts are in neighborhoods all over Grand Rapids. Elger Heights, Boston Square, Franklin and Eastern, Madison Square, and Seymour Square are all on the southeast side. Home to mostly mom-and-pop operations providing vital services to the communities they serve. Bill DeYoung owns Elger Hardware.
We're very convenient to the community. You know, we have people that know what we're talking about, so our service is higher.
That's a copy for you. But as Grand Rapids continues on its latest growth spurt, City Hall is trying to write new rules for guiding development. One focus, making sure small businesses don't get left behind.
So this is just kind of introductory. There's several stations that have more.
Beginning today, the city is hosting a series of presentations and input sessions asking what business owners need from City Hall. Called the Southtown Area Specific Plan, it'll eventually provide a kind of mini master plan for the 5 Southeast neighborhood business districts.
It's a way to help developers that are looking at our community to know what the area already is in need of or wants to see in their area.
DeYoung, who also chairs the Southtown Corridor Improvement District, says there can be a trickle-down effect to all of this.
If we have healthy business districts, the communities around it will become stronger and healthier as well.
And again, that meeting taking place right now at the Link headquarters here at Hall and Madison as of right now. More meetings scheduled for tomorrow and Friday. Tomorrow, Seymour Christian Reformed Church on Alger. They'll have a meeting there. And then Friday morning at Eastern Avenue CRC. Similar sessions will take place there. We have all the times and locations at woodtv.com. Live tonight in Grand Rapids, Joe LaFurgey, 24-Hour News 8.
A fraud alert to warn you about tonight from the Kent County Sheriff. The department tells us the victims were buying a new home. They got an email which appeared to be from their builder. It asked that $180,000 be wired for a down payment rather than bringing a cashier's check to the closing. Thankfully, the bank noticed it was suspicious and they didn't approve it. Police want to remind people to make 100% sure that your money is going to the right people before you send it electronically.
A celebration honoring the life and legacy of First Lady Betty Ford brought some big names to West Michigan, including former First Lady Hillary Clinton.
Construction underway. The effort has begun to reopen the corner bar. We'll show you how construction's coming, and you'll hear from the owners about when they hope to reopen.
And today's been the warmest day of April so far, but still colder than average for this time of year. We should warm up into the low 60s tomorrow, but look what happens after that. Wow, unseasonably cold air comes right back in here this coming weekend. Coming up, I'll show you who could see freezing rain and snow over the weekend and early next week.
Did you have anything to do with her disappearance? Are you a serial killer?
What do you want to say to the families who are devastated by heroin?
Henry Erb from WIT TV. Let's talk first about the money.
Wouldn't those blood tests at least help confirm that it came from the PFAS in that area? Did it raise some questions?
Has the state been doing enough?
Let's talk about the budget impact.
Celebrating First Lady Betty Ford's centennial birthday brought out big names and big crowds at Meyer Gardens.
24-hour News 8 political reporter Rick Albin is here with a look at the event. Rick.
Former First Lady, U.S. Senator, Secretary of State, and Democratic nominee for President Hillary Clinton was among the people who joined in praise of Betty Ford, honoring the 100th anniversary of her birth.
Empowering.
The celebration of Betty Ford's birthday was also a testimony to what many see as groundbreaking positions the First Lady took.
In my opinion, was one of the most transformational Americans of the last half of the 20th century. I didn't say First Ladies, I said Americans. Betty Ford, as the First Lady, speaking out in favor of the Equal Rights Amendment was astonishing. And I was living in Arkansas. And the work that she did was just like a thunderclap. People felt it, believed it, were in awe of it. And I just thought that took so much grit and guts.
First ladies are very important. Not only do they have their own causes, but they can make a big difference. And I think my mother was one of the starters of changing the role of the First Lady. And she was very outspoken and talked about the Equal Rights Amendment and her breast cancer and drug and alcohol addiction. And so she has changed the role, and so it's time to honor her.
Mike Ford reflected on the woman that so many remember for her courage and leadership, but she was also someone he called Mom. Humor, what was it like growing up with her?
Yeah, she was kind of that cool mom who would be with the young kids and do things maybe a little out of the lane sometimes to kind of entertain and keep us engaged.
The celebration of Betty Ford's impact coincides with a new exhibit at the Ford Museum, also celebrating her life. That exhibit opened last night.
60-degree weather is in the 8-day forecast. Bill's in next with a look.
This is 24-hour News 8 at 6 with Brian Sterling, Susan Shaw, Chief Meteorologist Bill Steffen, and Sports Director Jack Doles.
There is once again a buzz at the site of the Corner Bar in Rockford. Reconstruction is underway, and the owners say they expect to reopen this summer.
There is plenty that will be new, but there is a big effort being put into keeping what's old. 24-hour News 8's Leon Hendricks has this story in Rockford.
It started in the dark of night, and by dawn it was beyond clear that the Corner Bar as it was had been destroyed. The owners then promised they'd be back.
We appreciate everybody's thoughts and wishes, and we'll be back.
Today, proof positive, they're keeping that promise.
It's been hard to be patient.
Today is the beginning of a new day for the Corner, and the owners hope in many ways it will look a lot like the old one.
We want it to feel the same, and look the same as close as we can.
One of the things the owners are most proud of is the fact that they're going to get to keep that original brick facade. But having it there adds to the complexity of the project, and it's making it a lot more expensive.
So much of it is going to feel new. It's nice to have that old piece. Like, that's the Corner.
Another way they hope to keep the old is in the people. Corner Bar employees have had to find other work elsewhere, many of them doing similar work at area businesses. Some of them, the owner says, will surely be back. One for sure
believe in the Corner Bar
is Jimmy Wolf. He is the owner's teen son and among those anxiously awaiting the reopening. Tell me how important this place is to you.
I like it because I'm 17. I get to eat more hot dogs, and I can't wait for me back up.
What do you miss most about it?
Miss most having friends.
Construction workers say they'll work hard at maintaining the charm that brought the Corner Bar so many years of success. But there is one wholesale change that they're not afraid to say will be a part of the new building.
Improved fire safety.
In Rockford, Leon Hendricks, 24-hour News 8. Owners also say they will be resurrecting the Wall of Fame, and they're asking anyone with pictures of the wall to share them on the bar's Facebook.
They're also asking anyone who made it on the wall to check and make sure that their name is on the list.
Always tracking, always alerting. This is Storm Team 8.
Well, pretty nice evening coming up here in West Michigan. Nothing on Storm Track Live, but we do expect some rain later on tonight. We have some rain off to the west of us. That will be coming in here around and after midnight across most of the area. Our futurecast shows that pretty well. Clouds thicken up here this evening. By the time we hit 11 o'clock, there's a few sprinkles of rain developing south of a line from Holland to around Battle Creek, and this rain overspreads the area here. Look for a little bit of heavy rain at times and the possibility for a flash of lightning or a rumble of thunder as this moves on through. We get to 7 a.m. It's pretty well done for Grand Rapids, Holland, Muskegon. Still some showers north and east of Grand Rapids, but those move out quickly. And look at this. We actually see a little bit of sunshine tomorrow afternoon, especially from Grand Rapids off to the south. Temperatures tomorrow could reach the low 70s at the Indiana border. 43 our evening temperature here. We stay above freezing overnight tonight, so you don't have to worry about any ice. Our two-day forecast calls for temperatures to be in the low 60s here tomorrow. Should be a beautiful day. We can expect some sunshine here, and the outlook here for Friday calls for temperatures here to be in the mid-50s, but again, quite a gradient north to south across the area. Let's see if we can push ahead to the 8-day forecast here and see if we can show you that. Our temperatures here are going to head down as we head toward the weekend. We'll be seeing our readings here in the 50s on Friday, and the 8-day forecast will show temperatures here stuck only in the 40s, low 40s here on Saturday, and upper 30s during the day on Sunday. It should be a rather chilly period for us here. We can expect an excellent chance for rain Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday. And by Sunday, that precipitation will change over to a little bit of freezing rain and snow, especially if you are north of Grand Rapids.
All right, Bill, thank you. Out of Boston, why a West Michigan runner won't be lacing up for the big marathon.
Plus, noise complaints in South Haven have visitors and residents split on summer entertainment. New at 7, why the city's temporary solution is putting a stop on new events coming to town.
During Granholm's governorship, Michigan's unemployment rate hit 15%. Granholm's tax hikes hurt working families. Today, Michigan is still 250,000 lost jobs in the hole. Bill Schuette and conservative lawmakers want to eliminate Granholm's income tax hike so you can keep more of your money and Michigan businesses can create more jobs. Tell your legislators to stand with Bill Schuette and conservative leaders and work to end Granholm's income tax hike.
Papa Murphy's presents Fresh. Fresh means
Dathan Ritzenhein has pulled out of Monday's Boston Marathon. He sustained an SI joint injury while training last week. He was hoping he'd heal in time, but today Dathan went on social media and said he had to pull out of the race. He finished 7th in his only other Boston Marathon appearance back in 2015. Here's what he had to say on Twitter. He said, "Devastated to say I will not be racing the Boston Marathon. I was truly gutted by this. Best of luck to all my fellow runners who have earned their spot and are racing this Monday." A terrible forecast in Ann Arbor for Saturday has forced Jim Harbaugh to cancel Saturday's spring game at the Big House. The forecast calls for rain and thunderstorms. Harbaugh says the decision was in the best interest of the fans, the athletes, and the staff needed for this spring game. Wisconsin, Northwestern have also canceled their spring games. On to the NBA, where the Pistons close out the regular season in Chicago. Will this be Stan Van Gundy's last game as head coach? Will it be his last game with the organization, period? Pistons owner Tom Gores hired Van Gundy to be team president and head coach 4 years ago. He hired him to bring back the glory days to Motown, but they've only made the playoffs one time. Gores and Van Gundy will meet in L.A. next week to discuss the future. One of the topics they'll discuss is whether or not Van Gundy comes back as president, coach, or at all.
No, we have to break it down. We got to break it down. Where we've gone right, where we've gone wrong, we have to. Like, we haven't won. So I don't want to, like, be here with you guys and pretend we are going to the playoffs, because we're not, right? So that's just reality, and Stan and I have to talk about that.
All right, Tigers are taking on the Cleveland Indians right now. No score in the bottom of the first. Jordan Zimmerman, hit by a line drive in the head, has had to leave the game. And right now, Daniel Norris is pitching for the Tigers. We had a bench-clearing brawl in Colorado this afternoon. Rockies all-star Nolan Arenado charged the mound after a pitch was thrown behind his back. It was a wild scene. 5 players, including Arenado, were ejected. This comes on the heels of a Padres key player getting hit last night and being put on the disabled list. Rockies ended up winning the game 6-4. But there'll be some suspensions coming.
Maybe, yeah. The old throw the mitt at the guy charging. I don't know about that.
There's a lot of nonsense that happened.
Okay. Thanks, Jack.
Well, we got a lot of weather coming our way, starting with rain tonight. Big storm comes our way over the weekend. We'll update that at 10 and 11.
We'll be watching for that one, Bill. Thank you. See you at 7 tonight.